welcome back to Thoughts with a Therapist. Today we are talking about coping skills. Coping skills are a really great way to manage, to handle things that are a little bit difficult for us. So we use coping skills when we're feeling anxious, when we're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, sad, scared, nervous. One of the things that I like to recommend is figuring out the type of coping skills that we should pair with specific emotions or situations that we're going through. So think of it like this. There are times when there will be a situation, an environment that makes us feel really intense emotions. We might have specific coping skills that we know help us out a ton. Then we might be at some mid-level emotion where it bothers us, but it's not as intense, and we have certain coping skills that match really well for that intensity of emotion. And then there's other times where we just have small stressors that can build up on us on a day-to-day basis, and we have some simpler or smaller coping skills that help us manage those day-to-day stresses so that we can go through our life in a more manageable and pleasant way. I always suggest having coping skills that you know work for you written down somewhere, whether it's on your phone, in your journal, on a piece of paper, on some Post-its, and a place where you can see it on a regular basis. The reason for that is because when life hits us with some sort of stressor, it can be hard to think about, I need to engage in these coping skills. So the more that we can do to be proactive, the better it's going to be for us. We're not going to have to think about it too much when a situation does come up and we need to utilize these coping skills. So after this video, I highly encourage you, write it down somewhere. What are some of the coping skills that you know definitely work for you or you want to try out? I also want to note, we have different tolerances for different things. Every single person is slightly different. One person might be able to go through something and come out of it fairly well, and another person might go through the same thing and not handle it too well. That is okay. We are different. Just because someone else is dealing with the situation better than you are, doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or that you're weak or anything like that. It just means you're different. You are built different. You are meant to deal with this situation in a different way. And there's nothing wrong with that. The biggest thing is, how do we manage and take care of ourselves when we're going through difficult times in the best way for us? So let's get right into it. One of the first things I recommend for people to engage in when they are feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, anxious, fearful, nervous, or sad is taking some deep breaths. Now, this is a very specific way of taking deep breaths to assist us in regulating ourselves. When we are engaging in deep breathing, I want to encourage you to think of the numbers 4 to 8. 4 seconds breathing in through your nose slowly, holding your breath for 2 seconds, and exhaling through your mouth for 8 seconds. We do this type of breathing for at least a minute to 3 minutes. This is going to allow you to regulate your body a little bit more. When your mind is feeling a little bit overwhelmed, this type of breathing starts to reduce the intensity of our fight or flight response. Now, our fight or flight response comes in whether it's an emotional threat that we are experiencing or an actual physical threat. Our mind sees them as threats. So if it's something that's going on at work, that fight or flight response is going to kick in. Now, the way to be able to reduce it is for our body to start calming down. And sometimes we need to be very conscious of telling our brain, I am okay, I am not in danger. Let's take a breath, let's relax our body. And again, that's going to give you a little bit of that space to start thinking, okay, what are my options here? What can I do next? What do I need to do next? And when you're doing this breathing, I would also recommend, as you are exhaling, allowing your body to start physically relaxing, really noticing where you're holding your tension, When you're breathing out, are you seeing that your shoulders are coming back down because they were up here? Are you seeing your face starting to slowly relax? All of these things are going to help begin to calm your brain and your body down. The next type of coping skill that can be useful to us is any type of physical movement. That might include going on a walk, going on a run, doing a kickboxing class, doing a boot camp, going to the gym. It can include doing some just simple exercises at home. It can be stretching. It can be dancing. It can be any of those physical activities. When we engage in some form of exercise, some form of movement, it allows us to release some of that physical tension we are retaining from the emotional tension we are experiencing. It can also provide some brief distraction from what we are thinking about. And again, it allows us to give ourselves some room so that our rational mind can kind of kick in again. Next is grounding and mindfulness activities. So, some of you may have never heard of the word grounding. What that basically means is we are trying to achieve coming back to the present moment. A lot of the times when we are feeling overwhelmed, stressed, sad, angry, we are experiencing it because there's something in front of us that's happening, but a lot of the times it's because we're thinking about something that has happened or something that's going to happen that is bringing up some uncomfortable emotions for us. So when we ground, it allows us to come back to the present moment, to notice what is actually happening around us, because if it's things in the past, we can't really change them. If it's things in the future, we only have a certain amount of control over the things in the future. So it's important to be able to bring us to the present moment at times so that we can think a little bit more clearly and not be so flooded with maybe thoughts that might not be as helpful for us in the moment. So one way to ground is thinking of the numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, when we think of those numbers, I want you to think 5. What are 5 things I can see around me right now? Does not matter where you are. You can be in your office, in your room, outside. You can be anywhere. And then you go to 4. 4 things that you can feel. That might be things that you can feel on your actual body or things that you can feel that are in your environment. And maybe you can mix it up. Maybe you have certain things placed in your environment that have different textures. And then we have 3. 3 things that we can hear in our environment that might be naturally occurring, or it might be things that we put into our environment so that we can be noticing what is around us. That can be someone speaking in the other room. That can be music that you are playing for yourself. That can be birds that are chirping outside, cars that are passing by, maybe even hearing your own breathing. And then we have 2 things that you can smell. So again, that can be something that is naturally occurring in your environment. Maybe you're at home and someone is cooking something, or you have coffee in front of you, or it can be intentional. You have a perfume, a cream, a candle, cologne, something around you that you can smell. And then the last is number 1, one thing that you can taste. This might be the coffee that you are just drinking, or it might mean you get up and you get a little snack. You get something to taste. You get a piece of gum. Now, as you're doing this, you're kind of doing 2 different things. You are grounding yourself, bringing yourself to the present moment, but you are also engaging in mindful activities. You are being very conscious about what am I experiencing right now? What is my body experiencing? What am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I feeling, smelling, tasting? It allows you to really tune in to what you are experiencing in that moment. So again, if you want to try to ground yourself, think 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go through your senses. Now, I would always highly recommend doing this outdoors. Being able to connect with nature and grounding is such a beautiful combination. Now, I do want to add, when it comes to mindfulness activities, some people might have a really difficult time doing this. The reason being that we are bombarded with external stimulus, whether it is radio, TV, phones. We are in kind of a constant state of distraction by other things. So being able to just do one activity like that, like eating or drinking a tea or just sitting outside and focusing on what is around us, can be hard for some of us. So try to start off in an easy and simple way. Maybe it's trying to do a mindful activity for a minute to 5 minutes and building up that tolerance to not being constantly distracted. We also have socializing as a form of coping. What I mean by this is maybe we pick up the phone and we call a friend, a family member, a loved one, our partner, and we talk to them about our day. Maybe we just call them to just hear how their day is going. It can be really beneficial when we remove ourselves from our mental or physical environment that is causing some conflict for us and give ourselves a brief break to be with individuals who make us feel good or we feel really safe around them. Some of you might say, well, what if I don't want to talk to anyone? What if I don't want to engage with anyone? Okay, that's very valid. Maybe it is spending time with your pet, whether that is a dog, a cat, a hamster, a snake, a bird, does not matter what it is. Pets can be a great source of love and affection, unconditional love. It can allow us to feel accepted without having to try so hard. Pets and animals can be a really great way to help us center ourselves and bring us to the present moment. Another coping skill that we can use is journaling. Now, when I say journaling, what I mean by that is not necessarily a huge drawn out journal entry of this is what I did and ate and how I feel and blah, blah, blah. Like, it does not have to be that way. It can simply be a journal where you jot down, these were the emotions I felt today, or today was a crappy day, today was a good day. The point of this is to be able to get some of those thoughts, some of those emotions that we're having out onto paper. It's kind of similar to being able to share what we're feeling with a friend or a loved one. We're able to do that on paper. We're allowing ourselves to take that out and put it outside of ourselves, even if it's for a brief moment. And sometimes when we do that, we can find ourselves being able to look at what we wrote and kind of take a step back and see, whoa, like, why am I thinking this way? Or that seems kind of intense, or I don't like how that sounds. It might give us a little bit of a room to get a different perspective when we take it outside of ourselves. Journaling does not have to be in a specific type of journaling notebook. It can be, but it can also be on a scrap piece of paper. It can also be on your phone or on your computer. There are many ways that we can journal, so don't feel like you are trapped into a specific way that you need to journal. There are also a lot of creative activities that we can engage in to cope with some difficult emotions. Some of these activities might mean coloring, painting, sculpting, making something, singing, writing a song, learning a new instrument, or picking up an instrument that you haven't played in a while. Now, I hope that there were at least 1 or 2 coping skills that I mentioned today that you feel may be able to help you. As I said earlier, there are going to be some coping skills that are going to help you tremendously, and then there are going to be some that are only going to help you a little bit. I want you to have an open mind. Try some of these. Maybe there are some of these coping skills you've never tried before. Try it and see, does it have some sort of effect? Did it help you a little bit? And if it did, then it's worth having it in your tool chest of coping skills for the next time something might happen. I hope that this list is helpful for some of you. If there is a topic you guys would like me to make a video about, please go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you would like to support me, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with someone who you think might enjoy this video. And again, I hope you are having a great day. And if you are not, I hope that it gets better. I will see you soon. Bye.